Good afternoon. This is Dale Lamb, Gardner Webb. I've had a request from Jewel to cover the AAPTEL. I will post this for other students as needed. So I'll just jump right in. I have a previous video, but it's a good bit longer and just be easier to make a new one. So let's start with the AAPTEL. The AAPTEL is Analysis and Action Plan for Teacher Empowerment and Leadership. So first thing, I have Dale's notes. I'll attach these when I send these to you. First thing you need to know is when you start your research in A asks you to conduct research on teacher empowerment. You got to understand that there are two types of teacher empowerment. There's empowerment as a classroom leader, where you're empowered to do a great job in your classroom. But also there is empowerment as a school leader, where you're empowered to take on leadership roles around the school. So when you do your research, you will find in those two veins. Now, sometimes they kind of mix those together. I prefer to separate the two. The person to read about classroom empowerment is Robert Marzano. So Marzano speaks of being an empowered classroom leader if you use the 9 high yield strategies. And that leads you to being a great classroom teacher, because the idea here is we want our best teachers to be our school leaders. And so the people that we identify as great classroom leaders that use those 9 high yield strategies are the people that we want to be our school leaders. Now, what is school leadership? Todd Whitaker defines school leadership as 5 steps, and they're progressive steps. They start with teaching other teachers. So when we identify, so these two types of empowerment, they go together, because we're going to find out who our best teachers are, who our best practitioners are of the high yield strategies, and then we're going to use them to teach other teachers, either in whole group sessions or in PLCs or in one-on-one coaching. They're going to teach the teachers who don't do well with the high yield strategies, who are not empowered in their own classroom. So that's the first level. Now, that's the only level that we're really concerned in the AAPTEL of getting our teachers to, is teaching other teachers. Now, the next 4 levels beyond that are being involved in school leadership as a teacher, or again, teaching other teachers, being involved in the development of the school improvement plan, being involved with curriculum, being involved with resources, and then the holy grail, the 5th and highest level, is being involved in personnel selection. So for our purposes, when we're asked to do our research in A, we need to make sure that we read Robert Marzano for classroom empowerment, and we need to read Todd Whitaker for school-wide empowerment. Now, in part B, or component B, you are asked to identify instruments to measure those two. So you simply use Marzano's 9 high yield strategies. Are they using them? Yes or no? But you have to do walkthroughs to make sure that you find out if teachers are actually using those strategies. You cannot survey for best practice, because teachers will tell you I do that. You can survey for school-wide empowerment and what activities they've been involved in. So now, I don't expect that students are going to go out and do walkthroughs on the entire faculty. You just need to do 2 or 3. Then what you're going to do is ask your administrators for their walkthrough data in terms of how well high yield strategies are being used throughout your building. So in 2, you find those 2 instruments. You find Marzano's checklist and Whitaker's survey. Let me switch over to that for you right quick. I have these in this document, and there they are. There's empowerment as a school leader. That should be when you go out and do your survey, and then here's your walkthrough. It's in a checklist form. And this is your research. You will do your research, and you will find these people. So in C, you present your data, and you would present your data in terms of, again, you don't have to do all the, here's your survey, and then here's your walkthrough checklist. and then you present those with numbers attached. Again, you don't have to be the person who goes out and does all the walkthroughs. You just do 2 or 3 to find out and then you ask for a summary from your school administration. What percent of our teachers are using similarities and differences? What percent are using summarizing and note taking, et cetera? And then you've done your survey of your entire faculty on how many of them are getting to do those 5 things that Whitaker talks about in terms of school-wide leadership: teaching others, school improvement plan, curriculum, resources, and personnel. See, what we're trying to teach you here is you want your best people, your best teachers, being your school leaders, because that creates a culture where teaching is prized and learning is valued in your school. But it's also a way to reward your best teachers, and that creates a climate where teachers want to be good because they're rewarded for being good with school leadership positions. So what we're trying to show you is the relationship between those 2 things. When you find a school that is low on the number of teachers using high yield strategies, you will find a school where teachers aren't getting rewarded with leadership positions. The great teachers aren't getting rewarded. And vice versa. So that's the idea here, is we want to identify our best teachers, have them teach other teachers. We want our best teachers to be rewarded with school leadership positions, and create a culture of teaching and learning in our building. So in 4, in part D, or component D, you design you do your analysis, and you design your staff development program, where you've identified who your best teachers are, and you're going to have them do your staff development. Now, the kind of staff development that you do is based on your numbers from C. For example, if 25% or less of your teachers are using best practices, you need to do a lot of whole group staff development. If 50% or more are using best teaching practices, you need to use PLCs. And where you focus on the ones that aren't being, the 9 of the strategies of the 9 that are not being used very well. And then if 75% of your or more of your faculty are using all 9 of the high yield strategies, you need to hunt down the singles, as I call it, the teachers who aren't doing well, and use one-on-one peer coaching with them. Now, you can develop a model that has some component of all of this. If it were me, I would start every semester with some whole group instruction. And if a lot of your teachers are already using high yield strategies, it'd just be a few minutes. But if hardly any of them are using it, it'd be all day. But I would definitely use a combination of all 3 of these to address deficiencies in teaching, so that more teachers could become empowered as leaders in their classroom, and give more teachers the opportunity to take that first step into school leadership by teaching others. And then, of course, you develop your action plan, which is basically putting your staff development plan in place. This is just the who, what, and where, and when of your staff development plan, where you take your best classroom teachers as identified by using high yield strategies, and they teach the ones that aren't. And, again, I would probably do some of all 3. I would do some whole group. I'd do some PLC, where we worked on individual of the 9 high yield strategies, and I'd do some one-on-one peer coaching. So in the end, the idea here is to create a culture and environment in your school where your best teachers are your school leaders, where teaching and learning is prized above all other, and that you create an environment where good teaching is rewarded and poor teaching gets support and help. And that's the idea of the AAPTEL. It is a staff development model, but it all goes back to the understanding that there are 2 types of empowerment, both empowerment as a school leader and empowerment as a classroom leader, but that they are correlated, that they do connect, and that you have to have both, and there has to be a succession, a way that you become a school leader other than eeny, meeny, miny, moe. That you become a school leader because you're a great classroom leader using those 9 high yield strategies. I will send you this video. I will also send you these 2 documents that I have used. I will also send you a proposed staff development, basically an action plan, and maybe even an example of this. And so that should do it then. All right. I'll sign off now, and I'll send you these materials. Have a good rest of your break. Bye-bye.